Up in Le Center, students are back in school for the first time in a week and a half after a teacher strike wrapped up. We'll share what messages teachers and school district leaders shared with families.
Also coming up this hour, police arrest a vendor at a flea market in Gresham who's accused of stealing thousands of dollars worth of merchandise. Plus,
Oregon Hazelnuts goes to Ferrero Rocher and goes into Nutella and all those fabulous candies.
oh yeah, all that good stuff. We're talking about hazelnuts this morning, specifically, yes, the Oregon hazelnut. Oregon is responsible for 99% of the hazelnuts in this country. More on this coming up as we kick off the 7 o'clock hour of Sunrise right now. Monday morning here on the Sunrise Show, 7 o'clock hour. China Green has the day off and so does Rod Hill, but Chris McGinnis, thankfully for me, is here to do weather and traffic because otherwise, Chris, I'd be doing everything this morning.
But I've seen you do everything and you are great at it.
I've never done traffic and I've done weather maybe this much.
But it's possible.
Do it, man. Do it.
Let's try it tomorrow. All right, the first thing I'm going to start off with is that we are off to a very chilly start. So PDX actually got down to 49 degrees before sunup this morning. Our chilliest temperature since mid-June. So that's the first thing you're going to notice when you step outside. We're 50 right now in downtown, 49 in Vancouver. Hillsborough still sitting at 44 degrees. And check that out. The bottom fell out in Burns this morning. You have now dipped to 28 degrees. Yes, this still is the last official week of summer, but it's 28 degrees this morning in Burns. All right, we do have a little cloud cover starting to creep into Clark County. This is the live look from the springs along the waterfront in Vancouver. 49 degrees there. Our Wells Fargo sky camera shows brilliant sunshine over downtown Portland and 50. And the plan for today, whatever morning clouds and fog that we have out there this morning will disappear very quickly. We've got a really nice day on tap for us with temperatures in the upper 70s today. And then we dial up the heat. Yes, near 90, I think, for some of us tomorrow. More on that in a few minutes. Let's get you out the door, though, with a look at the roads. We have a traffic alert on the Glen Jackson Bridge. So here's the deal. We had an earlier crash near the Airport Way exit. The crash is out of the way, but the backup now is what is the big issue. That's I-205 right now, southbound on the left-hand side of your screen. That's up near Mill Plain. We are really backed up, as are the ramps from SR-14, which you can see there, trying to get onto the southbound Glen Jackson Bridge. So you need lots of extra time there. And, of course, I-5 is stop and go right now from SR-500. So with that in mind, a quick look at your drive times from Clark County. Not great this morning, for sure. You need some extra time, for sure, on that side of town. Elsewhere, with all the talk about Clark County, the rest of the freeway commute right now is actually in pretty good shape. Drew?
All right, thank you, Chris, very much. Top story here at 7 o'clock. Kids are heading back to school in Le Center this morning after teachers in the district agreed to a new contract on Friday. Their strike lasted a week and a half while they nailed down this new deal. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz is live for us in Le Center. So, Thomas, today is basically the restart of the school year for kids there after the strike wiped out 8 of the school year's first 12 days.
Yeah, look, a restart of school, Drew, and we're talking mid-September here. The school year actually started on August 27th, but they only got a week into the year before this strike started. Fortunately for families, teachers, administrators up here, they finally reached a deal on Friday, ending the week and a half long strike and ending the first strike in school history. The school district agreed to a cost of living adjustment and a cap on class sizes. That is actually really unusual. We rarely see school districts agree to class size caps because they say it's just really expensive. Still, teachers and district officials are relieved to finally have that strike behind them.
There was a moment of silence as everybody digests this, and then a little bit of murmur as we talk to each other. But I also saw relief on a lot of faces.
I'm excited that they've ratified and we can move forward with school on Monday. Excited to get kids back in school and get back to the essential work of educating kids.
So excitement and relief from administrators and teachers, and Superintendent Peter Rosenkrantz, we just heard from there, also telling us that he's just really excited to get back to the fundamentals of school, learning reading, math, science, all the core subjects. That'll begin once again today here in Le Center. Drew?
All right, Thomas Schultz live for us there this morning. Meanwhile, we also want to let you know the classes in the Molalla River School District are running 2 hours late today because of what's described as a district-wide power outage there. Again, this is impacting the Molalla River School District. Gresham police arrested a vendor at a flea market over the weekend for his alleged role in a large retail theft ring. So these are photos we're going to show you right here of some of the items that were recovered. According to police, roughly 1,200 stolen items were found, equaling more than $10,000, and that doesn't include what was later found at the suspect's home. Gresham Police Detective Adam Wright says the suspect was running a theft ring as a vendor inside, again, the Oregon Flea Market in Gresham.
When a thrift business like this shifts into becoming a fencing operation for stolen property, it harms everyone. It drives up prices at every legitimate retailer for every product that we buy.
This weekend's bust happened after months of investigations. Several law enforcement agencies were involved, including Gresham and Portland. All right, we have a series of stories from Marion County this morning, starting with a deadly house fire in Salem. This happened around 6:30 Sunday morning in a neighborhood west of Liberty Road South, right off Cunningham Lane. Conditions were bad enough at this fire that extra crews had to be called in to help out. 2 people were trapped inside. Firefighters managed to get both of them out, but one of those people died at the scene. The other was taken to the hospital and is in stable condition. Salem police say a woman died after getting hit by an SUV during the overnight hours on Sunday. It happened shortly after 2 a.m. at Commercial Street Southeast and Hilfiger Lane. Police say the 32-year-old woman was in the middle of the road when she was hit. The driver of the SUV stayed at the scene and cooperated with investigators. There was also a crash just outside Salem early Sunday morning that killed someone on a motorcycle. This happened on Gannon Street Southeast just before 4:30 a.m. Now we're still waiting for more details from the Marion County Sheriff's Office regarding what exactly happened, but we know that the crash involved the motorcycle and a car. One person is dead in Yamhill County after they were pulled out of the Willamette River. So this happened Saturday around 3:45 in the afternoon when a patrolling officer spotted someone in the water calling for help just north of the wetland ferry near Willamette Mission Park. They pulled an unconscious man from the water who was declared dead by paramedics. We don't know the exact cause of death yet, but investigators believe the man suffered a medical event while swimming. The U.S. Department of Justice is suing Uber, alleging some of the company's drivers refuse to give rides to passengers with service animals. The DOJ is seeking millions of dollars in damages for the alleged victims and is also looking to force policy changes. Over the past year, KGW has documented Uber drivers canceling rides and refusing to take people with guide dogs. That, of course, is a violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act. The Department of Justice received complaints about this all around the country. So the lawsuit against Uber claims the company has denied service to hundreds, maybe even thousands of people with disabilities who travel with service animals. We spoke to one local passenger who says Uber is discriminating against people who are blind and need the service of a guide dog.
I just wish that there could just be some respect, for some dignity as far as recognizing that, you know, we are people.
In a statement, Uber said it disagrees with the allegations, saying, quote, "We have a clear zero tolerance policy for confirmed service denials." Back in February, Uber launched a new feature which allows riders to opt in and let drivers know that they have a service animal with them. Sports news this morning, the estate of late Trailblazers owner Paul Allen has officially agreed to a formal agreement to sell the team to a brand new ownership group led by this man, Tom Dundon, along with 3 other minority owners. Dundon is also the owner of the National Hockey League's Carolina Hurricanes. According to Allen's estate, the new owners plan to keep the Blazers right here in Portland. They will remain, Chris, at least for now, your Portland Trailblazers.
That is awesome news, of course, and we look forward to the start of the season. As you mentioned, it's just a little over a month away, right? So good stuff to come, we think, on the hardwood at Moda Center. Let's take you out the door to our Chehalem tasting room camera down in Sherwood. We've got beautiful sunshine out there, and you also look closely here. You can see in the little nooks and crannies in the hillsides here some little patchy fog forming. And of course, after the soaking that we had yesterday morning and the sky clear overnight tonight, or last night I should say, it will be clear tonight. Last night's clear sky setting the stage for some fog out there, but otherwise a really pretty start there. We do have a little bit of low cloudiness creeping into the Vancouver waterfront. In fact, check that out. You can barely make out the very tippy top of the interstate bridge there from the springs along Vancouver's waterfront, where it's currently 49 degrees. 49, unofficially, PDX actually got to 48, the lowest temperature that we've seen since mid-June. So that's the headline getting out the door this morning. It is chilly out there, and in some cases we have some patchy fog. 44 now in Hillsborough, up from 43. Corvallis right now sits at 47. The plan for today at the beach, morning low clouds and fog burns off, giving way to sunshine. Pacific City gets to about 70. Hopping out to the Columbia River Gorge, a beautiful day for you folks. And an east wind beginning to develop late in the day. That'll be a factor in tomorrow's forecast. You'll see that in the 7-day in just a second. Patchy morning fog, otherwise a beautiful day in Vancouver and across southwest Washington with temperatures climbing into the mid-70s. And again, patchy fog in the valley as well with highs in the mid to upper 70s. Here in the Portland metro area, I've got us getting to about 76 this afternoon. The breeze picks up overnight tonight, so that's going to do two things. One, it will keep the temperatures a little warmer overnight, a lot warmer in fact, and it sets the stage for what will be a one-day shot of heat tomorrow, with some folks maybe getting up to near 90 degrees on Tuesday, and then we dial it back for the rest of the week. The next chance of rain in our forecast appears to come in late in the day on Saturday or Saturday night. Okay, let's get you out the door with the traffic alert out of Clark County. It is not a pretty drive right now on both I-5 and I-205. That is a live look right now at I-205 at SR 500. An earlier crash on the southbound Glen Jackson Bridge has cleared, but the traffic's still really backed up. You can see here the ramps from SR 14 to I-205 south taking some extra time. And the I-5 drive, that's live right now at Main Street. It is lined up solidly from Main Street down to the Interstate Bridge. So with that in mind, here's a quick look at your drive times. You're going to need some extra time out of Vancouver this morning. 25 minutes Main Street to the Fremont Bridge. I-205 south is extra plugged up as well. The good news is, as bad as the Clark County commute is, Drew, the rest of the drive is actually in pretty good shape.
All right, thank you, Chris.
And Oregon's a super exciting place to grow nuts.
Never mind going cocoa for Cocoa Puffs this morning. We're going nuts for hazelnuts. This is a brand new edition of our Fresh from Oregon series. It's the story behind Oregon's state nut. More hazelnut talk right after this.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
This morning's Fresh from Oregon segment is all about Oregon hazelnuts, also known as filberts. So did you know hazelnuts are Oregon's official state nut? KGW's Christine Pitawanich has more on the nut that brings about $110 million into the state each year.
And Oregon's a super exciting place to grow nuts.
And no one would know better than Shonda Warner, co-managing partner at Pharmacopoeia Farms. On roughly 1,000 acres in Albany, they mainly grow blueberries and hazelnuts.
We produce about 250, 300,000 pounds a year. Yeah, a lot of hazelnuts.
Oregon State University says the entire state produces more than 65,000 tons a year. And according to the Oregon Hazelnut Industry Office, filberts, as some people call them, are grown on about 1,000 Oregon family farms, spanning roughly 93,000 acres.
My great-great-grandfather came here from north central Iowa back in the 1930s, and he became a nut and berry farmer. But I came here in 2015.
She says the tasty morsels are shipped all over the United States and the world.
Probably the largest percentage of Oregon hazelnuts goes to Ferrero Rocher and goes into Nutella and all those fabulous candies.
And apparently Oregon hazelnuts set themselves apart.
They're very, very big, and everyone would say that.
While other countries are well known for hazelnuts, in the U.S., Oregon is at the top, producing 99% of the country's supply. That's according to OSU. And in recent years, Warner says more hazelnuts are being grown.
It's really fun to think about what we could become in the next 5 to 10 years.
Christine Pitawanich, KGW News.
All right, from Hazelnut World, we turn to Oregon's wine country. This is a live look from our Chehalem Tasting Room Skycam out there in Sherwood. Looks beautiful out there, but Chris has been talking all morning long about how chilly it is outside.
Easily the coolest morning that
really?
we've had in months. So PDX unofficially got down to 48 this morning. Vancouver sits at 49, and with the rain that we had yesterday, we're also setting up for some fog out there. Check that out. In the last couple of minutes, the interstate bridge has turned foggy. That is the live look from our Springs at the Waterfront camera in Vancouver. A little while ago, we could see Mount Hood off in the distance, but the fog has set up shop now. And as we mentioned, Vancouver at Pearson Field, it currently sits at 49 degrees. They were actually as cool as 46 unofficially earlier this morning. It's currently 50 right now in downtown. And the big perspective here across the valley, 46 right now in Eugene, 52 down towards Roseburg. Hopping over the Cascades, the bottom has dropped out in Burns right now at 28 degrees. It still is officially summer for this week. Fall arrives a week from today, but man, that's a cold start over in Burns. This is a pretty shot from Timberline's camera at 6,000 feet on Mount Hood. You can see in the nooks and crannies of the Cascades there a little bit of low cloudiness there that has formed overnight, somewhat in result of the rain that we had yesterday. We had a really good soaking at PDX, picking up almost 2/3 of an inch of rain. One of the big winners in the Willamette Valley was Salem, just shy of 9/10 of an inch of rain yesterday morning. The rain yesterday morning and the sky clearing overnight has set the stage for some fog out there this morning. But as you see here on Futurecast, I'll roll the clock here. Our modeling has that low cloudiness and fog dissipating very, very quickly. Even out through the mouth of the Columbia River, we should finish the day with full sunshine. So a good looking day despite the chilly start. And then as we fast forward into tomorrow, I got the wind arrows on here because that's important. We have a warming air mass, low pressure developing just offshore here. And with the wind coming down off the Cascades, that downsloping, subsiding wind will lead to a rapid warm-up in our temperatures as we go into the day on Tuesday. So you'll see that reflected with Futurecast. Our modeling likes the I-5 corridor generally in the mid to upper 70s today. It says about 78 or so here in Portland. Overnight tonight with the breeze, temperatures will not be nearly as chilly tomorrow, and that'll serve as the springboard for a hot day tomorrow. Now, we're not talking record heat. Records this time of the year are still well into the 90s, but 88 is pretty toasty here in Portland. Salem may very well get to 92 before we dial the heat back as we go into the middle part of the work week. So 76 today, maybe 78. I've got us 88 tomorrow and then 80 Wednesday, near 80 on Thursday and Friday. The next chance of rain doesn't really show up in the modeling now until sometime Saturday night or Sunday. The timing and the amount of rain are still somewhat in question there, so stay tuned on that, but that does not look like a big soaker at this point. We'll certainly keep you posted. What is a big soaker, not a soaker, but an alert here. You feel like you're getting soaked on your morning commute with all the time you're spending in your car. Check this out. This is I-205 up near SR 500. So we had an earlier crash on the Glen Jackson Bridge. That's out of the way, but 205 South is all kinds of backed up, as are the ramps here from SR 14, both east and westbound, trying to get onto I-205 South. On the other side of Vancouver, I-5 is lined up from Main Street this morning. So really heavy drive getting in from Clark County into Portland right now. We're looking at almost 30 minutes from Patton Parkway, about 25 minutes from Main Street. The rest of the drive times are not bad, but they are getting busier. Right now, I-84 takes you about 20 minutes to get in from Troutdale. Drew?
All right, thank you, Chris. 30 days. 30 days is how long Boeing has to respond to a proposed fine of more than $3 million after the FAA found several violations at multiple factories, including the factory in Renton, Washington. We're going to have that story for you and other national headlines coming up when Sunrise continues in 2 minutes.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Welcome back to Sunrise. More details are coming out about the alleged shooter of political activist Charlie Kirk, who was killed last week while speaking in Utah. Here's NBC's Morgan Chesky with the latest.
Overnight, a tribute in the nation's capital for Charlie Kirk. The public, Congress, and the Trump administration gathering at the Kennedy Center.
We were soulmates, we were spiritual brothers, and we were friends.
On Meet the Press, Utah Governor Spencer Cox saying Kirk's suspected assassin Tyler Robinson is not cooperating so far. The governor revealing investigators have interviewed family members and those familiar with the suspect, including his roommate, a male transitioning to a female, who they believe is the 22-year-old's romantic partner.
This person did not have any knowledge, was shocked when they found out about it.
One federal official telling NBC News there's not a solid understanding of whether there's any connection between that relationship and the shooting. The conservative activist was openly critical of transgender people and trans rights.
You're at war with your own biology.
Investigators have yet to determine a motive. Governor Cox says while the suspect comes from a conservative family, he had a leftist ideology and had told a family member he did not like Kirk or his viewpoints. President Trump weighing in overnight.
The problem we have is on the left. They're already under major investigation. A lot of the people that you would traditionally say are on the left.
But some in Washington noting the recent spate of political violence has affected both parties, with a Democratic lawmaker and her husband killed in Minnesota, and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's house targeted this year. Senator Mark Kelly, a Democrat, whose wife Gabby Giffords survived a shooting in 2011, speaking out.
This isn't like one party committing all the violence against the other. I mean, this is clearly a pervasive issue in our country.
It comes as new details about the day of the shooting have been uncovered, including videos which appear to capture the suspect's movements hours before he arrived at the college campus. Kirk's widow, Erica, speaking out for the first time just days after the shooting.
You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country.
Again, that was Morgan Chesky reporting for us this morning. Let's take a look at some other national headlines here with your Morning Rush. Police arrested 2 men in Utah for allegedly lighting a bomb under a news media vehicle. According to police, they lit the explosive, but it apparently malfunctioned. Investigators found more explosives and firearms at the suspect's home. The Federal Aviation Administration is threatening Boeing with a fine of more than $3 million for widespread safety violations. The agency says it found hundreds of problems at Boeing's 737 factory in Renton, Washington, and also at a subcontractor's factory in Kansas. Officials also linked these issues to last year's Alaska Airlines door plug blowout over Portland. Boeing has 30 days to respond to this proposed penalty. Pope Leo celebrated his 70th birthday Sunday with thousands of people at St. Peter's Square. They waved balloons and sang happy birthday to the Pope. Pope Leo is the first American Pope and the youngest in 40 years. And that's a look at your morning rush.
Portland police do not enforce federal immigration laws.
Portland police clearly spelling out the department's role when it comes to immigration enforcement. Coming up here at 7:30, the video where police want you to know what they're involved in and what they're not involved in. Plus, after a year of negotiations, a new deal on the table to keep TikTok from getting banned here in the U.S. We'll have details on that coming up in our next half hour. Before we break here, though, a quick live look from the Oregon Zoo sky cam that shows, yes, we have goats up and about on this Monday morning. Good morning, Billy. How are you doing on this fine Monday? All right, more weather with Chris McGinnis, a quick traffic update from Chris as well. All that coming back on the Sunrise Show in 3 minutes.
KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
We are coming up on 7:29 on your Monday morning drive, and it's a rough one out of Clark County. There is I-5 lined up at Main Street. There's I-205 stop and go from SR 500, and a lot of this because of overflow traffic from an earlier crash on the Glen Jackson Bridge. So the good news is the crash is out of the way, but the bad news is you can see 205 again stacked up, and your drive time right now is nearly 30 minutes, which is an improvement, by the way, from Main Street to the Banfield. I-5 is lined up as well. Again, because of probably some overflow traffic and some fog. Check this out. We've got a very foggy shot from downtown Vancouver right now. All of this developing in the last 20 minutes or so, thanks to the rain yesterday and the clear sky overnight. That is the live look from the Springs at the waterfront in Vancouver, where it's 49 degrees. The other story, of course, is just how chilly it is this morning as the cloud cover begins to creep in on downtown. 50 at PDX, it's 44 in Hillsboro. Despite the chilly start and the patchy fog for some of us, full sunshine awaits this afternoon with highs in the mid-70s. Tomorrow we dial it up a little bit, near 90 for parts of the Willamette Valley on Tuesday.
.30 half hour of the Sunrise Show on this Monday morning, and it also happens to be National Double Cheeseburger Day. Now, don't confuse this with what's coming up on Thursday. Thursday is just plain old National Cheeseburger Day.
Is Friday check your cholesterol day?
I only know about today and Thursday, but you might be right, Chris. Lots of burger deals this week with these holidays in mind. So Burgerville has a special coming up on Thursday for its classic cheeseburger. Killer Burger is doing a buy one, get one burger deal on Thursday for anyone who signs up for their rewards program by this Wednesday. And Portland Burger also has teased a deal for its classic Rock Burger coming up on Thursday. So there you go, a big week for the burger.
You eating breakfast yet?
I have not. Actually, I've eaten nothing. I've been up since 2 o'clock. I have not had a stitch to eat.
That looks really good right now, I will tell you that.
I would eat a burger any time of the day.
Anytime, and especially now. All right, let's get you out the door. Here's a look right now from our, well, first off, I want to point this out. This is a big deal. The rain that we had yesterday, PDX picked up nearly 2/3 of an inch of rain. Salem picked up almost 9/10. So what is that doing? That's setting the stage. Let me back this up a little bit. For fog out there this morning, let me back up my graphics. I apologize here. I wanted to show you this. This is the live look from the springs at the waterfront in Vancouver. Can you see the interstate bridge? I can't. It's right there, sort of. So in the last 15 or 20 minutes, fog has swallowed up the interstate bridge. That is likely leading to some of the extra slowing on that side of town. Regardless, it's chilly out there as well. 49 last check in Vancouver, and you can see the cloud cover and the low clouds starting to move into downtown Portland as well, where it is currently 50 degrees, 44 in Hillsborough, 47 in Aurora. So out the door, a chilly start, but we will finish with sunshine despite the low cloudiness and fog, with temperatures in the mid-70s this afternoon. So a good looking day today, and then we dial up the heat, like legit heat, like near 90 tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. Let's get you out the door with a look at the roads. I'm going to have to do a quick switcheroo on my graphics here, but I want to tell you that the Clark County commute is rough this morning. We had an earlier crash on the Glen Jackson Bridge. That's out of the way, but the I-205 commute is solid, and the I-5 commute not much better. There it is live right now at Main Street. It is bumper to bumper from Main Street down to the Interstate Bridge. That's the look at SR 500 and I-205 as well. So with that in mind, the Clark County commute needs some help this morning. About 32 minutes to get you in from Main Street, 30 minutes Patton Parkway south to Interstate 84. Drew?
All right, thank you, Chris. Top story here at 7:30. Local Ukrainians are speaking out after a number of Russian drones were recently shot down in NATO-protected airspace. The drones were shot down in Poland last week, scattering debris across the Polish countryside. Now, this wasn't the first time that a Russian drone has strayed or crossed the border into Polish airspace, but it is the first time that one has been shot down over a NATO country. We heard from a group that provides medical aid and support for Ukraine, who says last week's events are another example of Russian President Vladimir Putin trying to push the limits.
Putin is going to test and check out what will he be able to get away with. This is not the first time such incursion happened, but this time we had 19 directed drones. I would call this not a mistake. I would call this an attack.
The United States has already vowed to defend every inch of NATO airspace. Portland Police, meanwhile, aiming to reiterate their role when it comes to immigration enforcement. In a new video from Portland Police, Chief Bob Day says local officers are not involved in that kind of work. The video also says that officers will not ask someone about their immigration status unless it's relevant to the crime that they're accused of. And because so many agencies have the word police on their uniforms, the Portland Police Department says their officers will always identify themselves.
Portland police do not enforce federal immigration laws, and we also do not work with ICE to identify, arrest, or detain people just because they are undocumented. You can tell an officer is a Portland police officer because we have a unique badge. No one else has a badge like this.
A Portland City Councilor has also introduced ordinances to address immigration enforcement. So the first ordinance puts Portland's sanctuary city status into city code. The second one seeks to prohibit all law enforcement, including federal agents, from intentionally concealing their identities during routine operations, and it also requires that badges always be clearly visible. Washington Governor Bob Ferguson says the proposed federal budget could strip health coverage from hundreds of thousands of people in the state and could also force another government shutdown. The proposed budget bill is set to take effect in January. Democratic leaders in Washington argue that it could force rural hospitals to close down, drive up insurance rates, and also cut off coverage for more than 300,000 people in the state.
It's been described as the largest transfer of wealth in the history of our entire country. I would say, as a person of faith, that disgusts me. That is upside down. That is wrong.
The chair of Washington State's Republican Party told our sister station in Seattle that Democrats simply don't have the cards to force another government shutdown. A new Union Gospel Mission facility is open now in the Rock Creek area. This is a look at the grand opening. It's set to provide addiction recovery and transitional housing for women and children trying to get away from abuse, homelessness, or addiction. KGW's Jay Coulter gives us a look inside.
Angeles Place triples Union Gospel Mission's capacity to house women in trouble, and we spoke with a woman who UGM helped as part of their Women's Life Change program, and she says it turned her life around.
This is exciting, and when I came in, I got really emotional.
Around a decade ago, Sarah Tiarina spent nearly 2 years of her life living amongst the women in Union Gospel Mission's Life Change program.
It was at a place in my life where I desperately needed help and assistance and a different way of living. I had found myself in a pretty dark place and didn't know how to get out of it alone.
Tiarina was staying at UGM's old Beaverton facility. Now, this new one in Rock Creek can provide a home for up to 80 women and children with warm beds, nourishing meals, and space to rest and reflect. After 30 days, women can apply to the year-long Life Change program, which offers healing through classes and group studies that foster spiritual, emotional, and physical growth.
There was classes and teaching and allowing you to figure out what it was inside that needed to be healed. And it helped you integrate back into life in a safe place.
This new 53,000 square foot building has an education center, a children's activities center, a commercial kitchen, a counseling center, a courtyard, living rooms, and a chapel. Courtney Dodds with the mission says that the new building comes at a time when homelessness is on the rise in the Portland area.
There still is a big need, and especially for women and kids, they're extra vulnerable, and we just really want to make sure that anybody who needs a place to go has a place to go, and that's our goal here.
For those in transitional housing, they can still work at their outside job. For those in recovery, there are jobs inside the facility to help ease through the recovery process.
It turned into a complete life change for me. I go into jails, I help sponsor and mentor women. My relationship with my son, my family, everything's been restored. Healing, it has been possible.
Over the next 10 years, Union Gospel Mission plans to offer more than 2,000 women and children a chance at new life.
There's so much life to this building, and it hasn't even began.
And new residents can move in on September 29th. In Rock Creek, Jay Coulter, KGW News.
Portland's first ever Tibet Day started with some traditional Tibetan dancing. The Northwest Tibetan Cultural Association hosted this event at Pioneer Courthouse Square over the weekend with arts and crafts, vendors, and plenty of food booths. Organizers say there's about 800 people from Tibet living here in Portland. They're calling this year the Global Year of Compassion in recognition of the Dalai Lama's 90th birthday.
We are so grateful to the American people and the government for being so generous to our community. And now it is our time to share our values with the rest of American people, the value that is based on love, compassion, and tolerance.
The Year of Compassion calls on communities to embody compassion in how they teach, learn, and collaborate. Organizers say they have a large community center here in Portland that's open to anyone who wants to learn more about their culture. Well, the rain yesterday morning did not stop more than 70 local vendors and nonprofits from setting up shop for the annual Explore Downtown Tigard Street Fair. This was the event's 13th year with plenty of shopping, music, and food.
I just think there's a lot that people can do in their community, and they may not realize what's fully available to them until they go out, and this is just an opportunity to highlight it so that you can meet your neighbors, make a difference in your hometown.
Our friends at On Point Community Credit Union, a big part of this event. which has attracted as many as 7,000 people in past years. We don't have the official attendance numbers yet, Chris, for this weekend's event, but again, they had to deal with some rain in the early part of that event yesterday morning.
Yeah, soaking actually. Portland picked up nearly 2/3 of an inch of rain yesterday morning. Salem picked up just shy of 9/10 of an inch of rain. Okay, the rain is out of here. The sky cleared last night for most of us, and that has set the stage for, in some cases, some fog. So here's the look from Sherwood, where we've seen some fog starting to form in the nooks and crannies down there, looking off towards the east, where you can see the sun coming up, right? We go from that shot to this shot. Look at this. The sun has just been swallowed up now by the low cloud deck that has swept in over downtown Portland. That is a really cool shot with the dark clouds above and the tops of the buildings glistening with the sunshine off to the east. And literally within the last 30 minutes, we went from a brilliant shot of the interstate bridge to can't see it from our Springs to the waterfront camera in Vancouver, where the temperature has come up to 52. Vancouver was unofficially as low as 46 this morning. The rain overnight, or the rain yesterday, and the clear sky overnight, perfect ingredients for fog, and in some cases we are seeing some fog with low visibility at the Vancouver waterfront. Zero visibility right now being reported at Tillamook as well. It's not everywhere, but where we are seeing the fog, it is quite thick. And as we mentioned, a very chilly start. Oh, I'm not sure why, that's not the graphic I wanted to show. Our coolest start at PDX since mid-June. So temperatures across the region now in the 40s in a lot of locations. 44 right now in Hillsborough and McMinnville. Salem waking up to 49, and the bottom dropped out in Burns early this morning at 28 degrees. All right, early morning fog and low cloudiness, that burns off quickly. Futurecast shows nothing but sunshine coming our way this afternoon. And despite the chilly start, we should warm into the mid-70s. I've got Portland at 76 today. The breeze picks up overnight tonight, so temperatures will not be anywhere near as chilly tomorrow morning, and that'll set the stage for a springboard to a very warm to hot day tomorrow. Not record heat, but certainly quite toasty, and then we dial it back a little bit for the rest of the week. All right, let's get you out the door with a look at the roads, and the drive this morning has not been great, and we'll start off with the commute out of Clark County, because with earlier trouble on the Glen Jackson Bridge, 205 South is still all kinds of backed up right now. There you can see the live look at SR 500 puttering along there at about 15 miles an hour. The I-5 drive, it's probably the fog that's formed on the interstate bridge that is adding to the slowing here, because you're lined up back to Main Street now. So with that in mind, the Clark County commute looks like this. Not pretty. 33 minutes I-5, Main Street to the Fremont Bridge. I-205 is a 30-minute ride from Padden Parkway. And not to be outdone, coming in from the west side, Hillsborough, your drive is now spiked up to almost 30 minutes from Brookwood Parkway to the Vista Ridge Tunnel. Drew?
All right, thank you, Chris. TikTok, saved from the chopping block. Coming up here on KGW Plus, details on the new deal between the United States and China to save the platform here in the U.S.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
Well, after years of uncertainty, the future of TikTok here in the United States may finally be settled. The Trump administration announced a new deal with China to keep the app from getting banned here in the U.S. The United States Treasury Secretary says the framework of a deal has been reached and expects it to be finalized by Friday. Negotiators from both countries met this week in Spain to discuss trade issues with TikTok front and center. The Treasury Secretary also says the new deal balances fairness for China while putting U.S. national security first. Let's take a look at some of this morning's other consumer headlines. Klarna made its U.S. stock market debut last Wednesday, ending the week with a value of about $16 billion. The company has 26 million U.S. users and is expanding beyond buy now, pay later with a new card and mobile phone plans. Snapchat is rolling out 2 new features. The first one is called Infinite Retention, which lets users keep chat histories with a simple toggle. It's also introducing something called Group Streaks, which allow friends to build streaks together. And of course, Halloween is coming up next month. This year's hot item at Home Depot is not the big giant skeleton. It's a limited edition Homer bucket with a spooky twist. The $3 bucket has gone viral, some shoppers posting about their luck or their lack of luck when it comes to finding one of these buckets. Home Depot says it's not surprised by the bucket's popularity. And that's a look at some of this morning's consumer headlines as Chris McGinnis rolls back into the news studio.
Halloween decorations already?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, this isn't that outlandish. We're only about 6 weeks away at this point.
And I'm actually saying that kind of tongue-in-cheek because my daughter's already been about Halloween, and we already have the Halloween decorations up in the windows.
About 17 different costumes
She is all about the Halloween. Yes, Daphne is about to be 6, and she is stoked for Halloween. So, feeling a little fall-like out there after the rain this weekend. Check this out. This is pretty impressive stuff, right? Salem picked up nearly 9/10 of an inch of rain yesterday, Aurora 3/4 of an inch, and PDX at the airport nearly 2/3 of an inch of rain yesterday morning, the most single-day rainfall since mid-June. Over the last 3 months, it's obviously been a dry go of it, and we expect that in the summer, but the point is that yesterday was a soaking. Fast forward, the sky cleared overnight, the temperatures dropped like a rock, and while this map is not specifically showing it, we have seen some patchy, dense fog forming. Tillamook right now reporting 0 visibility. We just looked at our Vancouver sky camera, and I cannot make out the interstate bridge from our camera along Vancouver's waterfront right now. It's 1.7 mile visibility is the report from Vancouver, but in some cases that fog has swallowed up the visibility completely. All right, so the call today is a chilly and foggy start for some of us anyway. All of us chilly, but some of us waking up to fog. It turns sunny and warmer today, so a really good looking finish to our Monday. The east breeze turns up tomorrow, and that's really going to jump our temperatures on Tuesday. So we'll go from mid to upper 70s today to some folks maybe hitting 90 on Tuesday. Not record heat, but certainly very warm for the 3rd week of September. And then the weekend forecast features our next chance of showers, maybe Saturday night or Sunday. I'll show you that in the 7-8 in just a second. All right, here's the live look from the Chehalem Tasting Room camera in Sherwood. Pretty shot here with the cloud cover and even a little bit of fog down low. And then some of the clouds trying to work their way in from the Willamette Valley as well. Again, a result of the rain that we had yesterday, right? Case in point, there's the live look from our Wells Fargo sky camera. You know, a couple of minutes ago, well, maybe 30 minutes ago now, we had a really pretty sunrise, and now the low cloudiness has swallowed that up. And I think I've got the Vancouver waterfront camera. I do. The interstate bridge is there somewhere, I promise. But the point is the fog has gotten quite thick, and it's 51 last check in Vancouver. We're 52 in downtown Portland. Aurora waking up to 47, and Hillsborough still sitting at 44. Easily the coolest morning widespread across the region that we've had since June. So a very chilly start, but as we mentioned, a mostly sunny, warm finish today with a high of 76. And then we rocket those temperatures into the upper 80s. It's kind of a one-day shot of heat coming our way on Tuesday. It's not out of the question that some of us hit 90, not records, but quite warm, obviously. And then the middle of the week, we dial it back and have just a really nice week ahead. The next chance of rain, as we mentioned, coming in maybe sometime later Saturday or early Sunday. The details on the timing and how much are still obviously a little bit up in the air. We'll keep you posted. All right, let's get a look at the drive right now. Getting busier, the the Highway 26 commute coming in from Hillsborough is up to about 30 minutes now, but by far the Clark County commute is rough this morning. And now I-5 has supplanted I-205 for the big winner, as in the folks spending the most time in traffic. And I got to think that some of this is probably because of the fog at the interstate bridge. So you're going from decent visibility up in Hazeldale and near Main Street down to pretty close to no visibility down to the interstate bridge. So right now we're looking at a lineup from Main Street down to the bridge. And again, as we mentioned, that drive has jumped up to nearly 40 minutes at last check to get you down to the Fremont. True?
All right, thank you, Chris.
Oh my God, that's my baby.
It really is just believing in yourself and just being able to keep your head down and realize that work is important.
Coming up next here on The Sunrise Show, a one-on-one with rapper and songwriter Aminé. We're going to hear how growing up in Portland really shaped his music.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
He's a Portland native with platinum singles, his own sneaker, and his own music festival. Rapper and songwriter Aminé held his second annual Best Day Ever Fest here in Portland over the weekend. KGW's Sabina Pierre talked to him about his journey from Portland's Woodlawn neighborhood to the national stage.
I don't know, I feel like I would love for people to just be able to know that like they can do it too.
Trailblazing from Portland, Aminé has carved his own lane.
Oh my God, that's my baby.
The rapper broke through in 2016 with Caroline, a triple platinum hit that reached the Billboard Hot 100 Top 20.
Bigger than Texas, me and God text message.
Raised in Portland's Woodlawn neighborhood as the son of Ethiopian and Eritrean immigrants, Aminé credits his parents for shaping his journey.
They've shaped me a lot. Like my mother is like the hardest working person that I know on earth. The reason I can't take any sort of disrespect is because of my dad. So I feel like they both influenced me in like a really strong way.
In 2018, a billboard with his face on Northeast MLK boldly declared, yes, there are Black people in Portland, spotlighting representation and the importance of visibility for Black communities.
Seeing gentrification in like a major way in a neighborhood like Northeast Portland that I grew up in, and it frustrates me, but I know that whenever I have a chance to be able to call something out like that, like I will.
Aminé, read my lips.
He says giving back is central to his story, like supporting the Blazers Boys and Girls Club, hosting food giveaways with Keys Loaded Kitchen, and running a book drive in honor of his New Balance sneaker collaboration.
Designing a shoe becomes so much easier when you have a story attached to it.
Now, in its second year, Aminé's Best Day Ever Fest not only brings national acts, but also shines a spotlight on Portland talent like Three-Way Hef and DJ Sounds by Dante.
I've always been more wowed with the opportunity and the freedom to be able to create art.
From sneakers to symphonies, music to community work, Aminé's success always comes back to Portland.
It really is just believing in yourself and just being able to keep your head down and realize that work is important.
Sabina Pierre, KGW News.
Here's another event that happened over the weekend. Lansu Chinese Garden in Portland's Old Town celebrated its 25th anniversary. The garden had a variety of artists on hand, including opera singers. There were also silk embroidery demonstrations and a magnolia tree dedication, renaming the tree to honor the designer who shaped the garden's original layout.
Lansu actually has two meanings. Lan comes from the Chinese word for Portland, and Su is the Chinese word for Suzhou, which is our sister city in China. Our mission is to teach people about Chinese culture, and we believe that in doing so, we are helping to create more curiosity in the world, more understanding.
Tickets for the event over the weekend only cost $6. That was the original ticket price to enter the garden when it first opened 25 years ago. All right, the Sunrise Show will continue here on KGW Plus at 8 o'clock with new details about the suspected shooter accused of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk last week in Utah. Plus,
people was on the plane saying, "Smoke, smoke, smoke," yelling.
A new report says toxic fumes are leaking into airplanes. The potential health impacts and what plane manufacturers have to say about it. Again, those stories coming up next hour right here on KGW Plus.
The KGW